some spaces for cultural performances for the arts. You know, you play full. I mean, everybody asks for everything I want it right away. But me I ask with something, I'm asking rather. Me I ask. We need, if we could get one good center, properly outfitted in each of our counties. But we know you can't do all of that one time. But we need it. You know what the late Wycliffe Bennett told me? He says, you know, if we don't build more spaces for performances and the arts, we're going to have to build more prisons. So they get to something saying. So Mr. Payne, I know I see your seriousness. I recognize your processing what I'm saying. And I know you said it because I know Minister Olivia Basley-Grange has also been, she understands this as well. But enough things, but we are begging, see if you can find a way to just carve out some this space. You see those youngsters a while ago? They were also wearing costumes that somebody had to design. You go on a stage, you have a set that you have to make. You have somebody who has to do lights and sounds in a space. So it's a big something. I'll leave it with you as I invite you now to address the launch of this therapeutic center. Yes, sir. I can just fix this up for you. Let me just ask.
Thank you. You almost get the reach of my hand. Before I start, let me apologize for my 20-page speech. I was in the classroom before I became a politician, and so I learned several important techniques to keep the attention of the audience. So sometimes before the lesson I would say, please stand. Yes, please stand. And stretch back on the therapy. I would then say, touch your toes one time. I won't go that far with this audience. Please be seated. The protocols have been established. So allow me to say nice and decent people. And allow me as well to ask Dr. Wayne to share the book of jokes that he has. And permit me as well to commend the dancers. Let me say it was very uplifting. Very uplifting. Today we gather to officially hand over the Child Protection and Family Services Agency's Therapeutic Center, the first of its kind in the English-speaking Caribbean. The project was managed by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund and financed by the Government of Jamaica and the Caribbean Development Bank through its Basic Needs Trust Fund, valued at approximately $200 million. The government spent $85.8 million, and the CDD, DNTM spent $116.2 million. The Therapeutic Center will facilitate medical treatment, social intervention, guidance, and psychological support for victims of child abuse. The center will also provide programs designed specifically to stop the cycle of abuse and violence against children in a holistic and comprehensive support package. Overall, the project will benefit 4,400 children in state care, that is, children's homes, places of safety, foster care, family reintegration, and those in need of psychological and mental interventions. Additionally, the project will benefit 16,000 children and their families who will access the services of the Child Protection and Family Services Agency on an annual basis. So you can see that this is a big deal. And it's just one The CPFSA staff will also benefit from a series of training programs. This includes the training of 27 social workers, 161 caregivers, and 48 children's homes attendants and caregivers trained in skills to equip them for their workplace. In 2021, the Caribbean Policy Research Institute, CAPRI, estimated that of the number of Jamaican children who are able to access mental health services, only 8% of their needs were being met. Jamaica's children are in need of more and more available, specialized, and consistent mental health services. So I want you to, just for a moment, reflect on our situation. Of all our children who are in need of mental health services, presently, we are only able to meet 8%. So we are way behind in this area. So this move is even more important. What we're doing here is of great significance. Most mental health disorders that afflict adults have their genesis in childhood and adolescence events. That is something that Jamaicans have not come to terms with. You would be surprised to know the resentment, aggression that is still tied up in our domestic and interpersonal relationships, particularly between parents and their children, parents, relatives, children, relatives. And it consumes us as a society because we haven't aired it, we haven't fleshed it out. And we cover it by saying, well, so my parents didn't grow me, that was the experience I had, and it never affected me. Well, they never dealt with it. And so it expresses itself ever so often in violence, in violent behavior. In the first resort to any challenge being violence. And that is why the government is making this intervention to be able to treat with it, and we are starting specifically with the children who are in state care, who are there probably because of, in terms of the spectrum of issues, they might have been on the extreme end where they would have to be separated in many instances from their family. So we're starting there. So I want Jamaicans to understand and appreciate and accept that the government understands, the government knows, the government is seized of the problem. In the order and scheme of priorities, this is now a priority that we must address if we're going to reduce the general level of social violence and abuse in the society. Direct investments and efforts towards treatment and support in the early stages of brain development will redound to enhance educational achievements, more positive adult outcomes, and ultimately boost national development. Currently, there is no facility for the delivery of effective screening, assessment, and therapeutic treatment for children who are exhibiting behavioral challenges. Thus, there was a gap in the diagnosis of children as the state was unable to effectively screen, assess, and diagnose children who were displaying behavioral challenges. This therapeutic center is important, but we have far more to do as a government and as a people. Because addressing this serious problem is a matter both for the state and for the people, for the households, for the citizens, for the community groups, civil society. It seems to me that, a part of the culture that we need to change is that if it doesn't take long, it's not properly done. It's incredibly frustrating. And we tend to want to make perfection the enemy of the good. And in this particular case, I think we need to make changes urgently because the suffering is real and the impact is immediate. So I'm very happy, very pleased to say that we have started to roll out some of the amendments, and the Minister announced that Section 24 of the Child Care and Protection Act will be amended. Section 24 of the CCPA indicates that in a case where a parent or guardian proves to a court that he or she is unable to control his child, the court can make an order which would, among other things, result in the juvenile being sent to a correctional center. And the intention of the amendment is to end the practice of children who are deemed to be uncontrollable, to end that practice of placing them in penal institutions. Many years ago, we had actually made a policy decision to do this, but between policy and implementation, sometimes there are gaps. And so we need to refine the legislation to give greater guidance to the court system so that our children are appropriately dealt with. But it's not just the legislation that needs to be changed. The options for treatment need to be in place to match the new direction of the legislation. And this is one of them. It took longer than it should have, but the amendment will be tabled in Parliament. Well, it was tabled, thankfully, it was tabled on Tuesday. Following this, so the amendment was tabled in Parliament on Tuesday. The CPFSA's goal to be proactive and responsive in protecting our children and will enable work with children in a controlled and therapeutic setting. The CPFSA staff have benefited as well from training under the CDP BNTF 9 Youth at Risk project, which includes training and certification of 27 social workers employed to the agency in clinical social work, and the training of 161 caregivers from 48 homes island-wide in first aid, fire safety, supervision management, conflict management, and basic counseling skills. We are also paying attention to the maintenance of the facility. This is something that, unfortunately, we don't program into the building out of a facility. We build the facility and then we believe it will just last for 100 years, and then after 100 years we build a new one, not recognizing that maintenance must be ongoing. And maintenance includes the training of the staff so that maintenance becomes a part of not just the use of the building, but the management of the building. Maintenance is a very important management function. So 5 members from the CPFSA have attended a 4-day residential training to assist in understanding how to maintain the building. And that is even more important because the therapeutic nature of the building would require that it is clean, it is welcoming, that it remains lighted and bright, it's airy. You don't want to be bringing children into a building where it is no different from the environment in which they're coming.
Richie, come here. Richie. 2, 3.
Congratulations. Thanks to all who participated. 2, 3.
So that's all we're now.
Pull hard.
Pull hard.
So the Prime Minister will read. Prime Minister, please read your clap.
Ministry of Education and Youth, Child Protection and Family Services Agency Therapeutic Center, officially opened by yours truly, Andew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica, the 29th of June 2022.
Thank you.
Ministry of Education and Youth, Child Protection and Family Services Agency, Therapeutic Center, funded by the Caribbean Development Bank under the Basic Needs Trust Fund, ENTF, implemented by the Jamaica Social Investment Fund in partnership with the Ministry of Education and Youth, Child Protection and Family Services Agency, completed March 2022.
Mr. Thompson.
Hey, guy.
So this is a transfer. This is Dr. James Bernard, the psychiatrist who works with us. So this is just set up like a regular doctor's office. Right? So doctor can examine the patient. Of course, you know, many of our areas have mental health issues. And diagnosed by Dr. Bernard. They are on medication. So the next thing is just like this. We expect that children will come to get injections in the needle where it is necessary, right? So Dr. Bernard will work with us here at the Therapeutic Center. Right now he works with us, but not necessarily in this space.
But the good thing is that you now have a dedicated space, which will make the job that much easier in terms of the comfort and ease.
This is really awesome. I'm very impressed. And I'm hoping that maybe we'll see more of them in different speakers.
Well, this is the start. Again, better.
We have one other room to show you. To engage with children, particularly those who are neurodivergent. We're talking about ADD, ADHD, or those who are on the autism spectrum.
Sir, please go.
So the family system will use different items. So all 3 rooms have different items to serve the child with a particular sensory item, to help the child to just live a normal life, as normal as possible. So we are looking to get an occupational therapist on staff.
So you would be able to deal with children with ADHD.
We have many of them, so the body speaking was just
and on the autism spectrum.
Yes, certainly. So this is the last room I will show you.
Very happy about that.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Marilu Jamila from TJ. You said you were setting the context just now. That sounds like you're on a platform. Is that so? Are you concerned about the polls?
Thank you, Jamila.
No,
Good
yes.
to see you. Sir.